Hello and welcome back to the channel. So we finished our last series about Redux with TypeScript, which was pretty fun, I admit. I would like to build something bigger, maybe a project that uses both frontend and backend. And to do that, I have to introduce all of you to Node.js with TypeScript because probably we'll be using stuff like Nest.js, and this is obviously based on Node.js. So I believe this introduction series to Node.js will be of great value. Maybe in the end of that series, we will look into how you could build a simple backend service without any framework, just by using what Node.js give us bare bones. Okay, so what is Node.js? Well, it's a runtime environment, and what that means? Well, we know very well that that the browser is capable of running our backend code, right? Like if we go to Google and we go to a console, we know that we can run some kind of JS code inside our browser, right? But then there is Node.js, which is capable of running JS code basically anywhere. It can run as a backend service. It runs on your mobile. It can even be run on your fridge, right? Basically, anywhere where given hardware is capable of running C++ code. Because what lies at the base of Node.js is 8 node engine, right? And if you'd like to learn more about it, I would suggest visiting that page, v8.dev, which is explaining what V8 engine is and how it was brought to life. Of course, this is not the only engine. This is particularly developed by Chrome and running inside Chrome browser, and as I mentioned, inside Node.js. But there's also a Nitro engine that is running on Safari and being developed by Apple. And there's also SpiderMonkey engine. Let's find SpiderMonkey engine. There's also SpiderMonkey that runs in Firefox. So if you see some differences in behavior of your JavaScript code between browsers, this is because, well, there are different engines running in different browsers, right? Okay, so let's check out how we can install Node.js. Actually, there are many ways, because when you're on a Mac, you can use brew, which I really recommend if you do run Mac, as a way to manage packages on your Mac. If you're running Windows like me, you can run Chocolatey, which is package manager for Windows, which is also great, very useful. And it's really easy to manage, update, and delete packages. The other way, it's really simple. You can just go to Node.js and get the installer to install on your computer. You can go with the latest features for the purpose of that series. So how can we confirm whether the Node.js is installed correctly on our computer. This is very easy. You can open command prompt, PowerShell, Windows Terminal, or just whatever is given to you by default by VS Code. I set mine to PowerShell, and just type node v and npm v. And this should spit out some kind of version informing you about the version of Node and npm that is currently running on your computer. There's another important thing here that we have to discuss. See, there are very important differences between Node versions, the major versions, like you can see 12, 10, 14. And often there is a case where something is working properly on one version and it does not on the other. So I recently had this issue with a React Native project not being able to run on the recent version of Node because we didn't do the React Native update yet. And often it is good to have a way to switch between the versions easily. So there's this thing that I recommend that you install called nvm, right? And this is Node version manager that allows you to switch between versions easily. There's an install and update script that you can run inside your terminal. Run it real quick. I already have that installed, so it shouldn't matter. Oh, this is for Mac OS. There's a git install, there's manual install. I believe I did manual some of that. Okay, and now so just copy and paste this and it should work out of the bat. I did it somehow. Let me just show you that there is no problem with that. Which one do I? NVM Windows. Probably I did that. The NPM Microsoft Google recommends NodeJS version manager for Windows. Yeah. So if you're running Windows, yeah. There's just installer. So it's the same. It will download where is it? NVM setup zip, and will just give you setup exe, and you run it and you're good to go. But why is it important and why is it useful? Well, I can do stuff like npm install and let's see, node versions, and I can install a specific version that is important to, let's see, file 1314 X or 0, one of the versions. I can just say 1314 0, and it will download the version that I mentioned, right? That I pass as a parameter. And then if I do nvm list, will show you all of the versions that you already installed. And then if you do nvm use, let's switch to the latest one, use not user. Right? We are switched to the next version of Node. So this is the basics of using the NVM, and it is really helpful, believe me, and it is something you wish you have once you run into problems with running your project. So good. Okay, moving on. So I mentioned that there is a way we can run JS code outside of the browser, and this is due to NodeJS. So how to use it? Let's first create a project using npm, which is Node Package Manager. And you've probably seen me using it, but just to remind you, it is a way to manage your project and add packages, external packages to it. So I can just do npm npm init and pass the yes flag to accept the defaults. And this is, well, basically what you like to do. And it will generate package.json file. And this package.json file is, as I mentioned before in my other series, some kind of manifest describing your project, what packages does it use, and how developer can interact with it via scripts. You can see one script here, right? npm, you can run it with npm run, or in this case npm test, and it will just show that, right? Okay, so let's try and run some kind of code here. I'll create a folder called src, and I'll create a new file called main.js. I know. We're supposed to talk about TypeScript here, but let's just start with a little bit of JavaScript. So I'd like to run good old hello world outside of my browser. Okay, to do that, I will create a start script and just say node main.js. Okay, so npm start, and failed. Why is that? Oh, because this is wrong path. Telling me src main.js. Okay, hello world, perfect. Now, if you create some custom script here, like the one that isn't really auto-completed for you, right? Because I can just control space to autocomplete. Thank you, VS Code. Let's see. Yo. And this should also do node src main.js. So run our script with something different. Let's try npm yo. Nothing. This is because this is not a default name for a script, but I can run it with npm run, and then I can pass the name of the script, custom name. It works, as you can see. So that's a little bit of a difference. Let's now see how we can use TypeScript here, because that's what I'd like to do. So I'll change it to PS. Maybe I can simply run npm start. How about that? Well, the file is not found. Okay, because that's the wrong extension. Okay, this works. So we shouldn't need anything additionally here, right? Well, let's do some basic stuff regarding TypeScript here. So let's add a function, just a little bit of type checking. Create add function, and this is one number and second number, and it should return A plus B. So this is a base type in TypeScript describing a number, and this is both for float and integers, meaning the integer number, and the float is of course the one with the dot. Right. So since I'm expecting a number here, I shouldn't be able to write something like this. And as you can see, VS Code is so smart that already is highlighting our problem, right? But in the very end, your program will be compiled and run outside of VS Code. It will be run by Node and should be compiled by TypeScript. So what will happen if I will just run start? There's a syntax token, right? What does it mean? That means that Node by itself does not understand what this means, right? It does not understand type annotation that we have in TypeScript. So I have to bring some kind of way to compile and run it. And there are many ways to do that. We could, for example, install TypeScript, compile it with TypeScript. Let's actually try doing that. So let's install TypeScript, right? Just to make our code compilable. And let's see, compile with something like ESC, src, and TS. That should work. npm run file. Okay, and now let's see. We installed TypeScript with npm install savedev, and it was installed in Node modules. You don't see it here, but here in Node modules you will find a TypeScript. So we added a external package for us to use in the project. I created a custom script to actually run TypeScript, meaning I am using some kind of compiler, right? That is able to understand the syntax of my file and change it in a syntax that is understandable by the runtime environment, meaning by the Chrome on Node.js. So as you can see, this is very same as this, except it is completely stripped from the type annotations. And this is one important thing to understand. During compilation, all of your annotation is gone. So not only that, but also all interfaces and types that we create. And we'll talk about that in the next episode, right? So as you can see here, the compilation is done even with an error, but our compiler tells us that there's a problem here, right? And now I could do, even from here, I believe, src main.js. I can run this because this is understandable. That makes sense to the Node or Chrome. Okay. So just to fix this, you can do that. What's wrong with you? Cannot redeclare. Is this because of that? Yeah. Okay. No problem. Okay, so this is one way in which you can run your project. So maybe the proper way to structure our start script is by doing something like that, right? Makes sense. Compile and then run. Let's see. npm start. Well, oh, sorry. TJ, TJS, come on. Let's do it again for all the typos. This works. Okay, so that should be fine. The question is there a better way to run TypeScript code with Node? And there is. What I will do is I will install ts node dev, and there's ts node and ts node dev, right? So TypeScript for Node, TypeScript for Node development version. And the development version has this watcher function. When you're running a process that isn't closing, like a server, it will automatically detect the files that should be reloaded and refreshed without you having to do that manually. So I will install that. And now I can get rid of that. And I can say ts node dev ts node dev src main ts. Okay, let's check that. npm start, and it works. And as you can see, there is no intermediate file, the compiled file created here, right? And this is because it is compiled and run inside of your Node.js memory. Okay, so it's not written to an external file. And okay, I believe that should be all for that short introduction to Node and TypeScript in Node. In the next episode, we'll talk about processes, types, and interfaces in Node and TypeScript. So I see you there. Bye. And of course, remember to like, subscribe, give a comment, stuff like that. It really helps to fight the YouTube algorithm and helps the channel grow. I appreciate it very much. Goodbye.